This sanctioning body president is not a disinterested party. As he's claiming, I'm not. He has business interests he clearly feels, in my opinion, are threatened by a shifting landscape in boxing. And I am a part of that shifting landscape. It ain't business as usual anymore, where these cancerous sanctioning body cells drain the life out of the sport year after year.
Max Kellerman has also taken a clear and unapologetic stand. Even when facing the most powerful figure in the WBC, he has made it clear that the alphabet era is finished and that groups like the WBC are hurting the sport. He says he has 25 years of proof to back his views and none of it is influenced by anyone. This is not just a media argument. It is a fight over the future of boxing, and Kellerman is ready to challenge the old system for good. To understand why the WBC president is so upset with a commentator, you have to look at the money that just slipped away. The entire business model for groups like the WBC, WBA, and IBF depends on sanctioning fees. If a fighter wants to hold their belt, he has to give them a percentage of his earnings. For years, fighters simply accepted it. It was the price you paid for greatness. But then Terence Crawford beat Canelo Alvarez, earned a reported $50 million, and decided he was done paying that price.
Mauricio, got a lot to say about me not paying him $300,000 plus another $100K something for sanction fees, right? Then he gonna tell me I ain't even apologize? Like, who the fuck you think I am? Well, you better slap your fucking self. You ain't paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any of the other sanction bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. Fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. Who you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanction bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanction bodies agreed to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize to you? The fuck? You can take the fucking belt. It's a trophy anyway.
The WBC sent Crawford a bill even after cutting the fee to about 0.6%, which came out to roughly $300,000, just for keeping a belt he had already earned. Crawford's answer was unforgettable. He did not negotiate, and he did not look for a deal. He went public and basically said he was not paying anything. He called the belt a trophy and told them to come take it. That hit the WBC hard. When the top fighter in the world treats your title like it means nothing, it tells every other fighter that the system has lost its power. The WBC stripped him of the title, but the real damage was already done. The pushback had begun.
Terence Crawford has been very successful in the ring. He has been a world champion for 12 or 13 years, multiple times with the WBO in super lightweight. He won the WBC super lightweight. Then he unified and became undisputed in welterweight against WBC champion, who was Spence, in a great fight. He petitioned to fight a final elimination bout in super welterweight against Madrid Mob and remained champion in welter. The WBC supported him. He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. and it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route, no response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved, to tell you the truth.
Max didn't just cover the Crawford situation. He used it to launch a direct challenge against the entire purpose of sanctioning bodies. On his show, he spoke openly and didn't hold back. He said groups like the WBC aren't protecting the sport at all, but damaging it from within. He compared them to something that attaches itself to a host and drains it for its own benefit while giving nothing back. It was harsh, but it made his point loud and clear.
The one doing the critiquing is not a journalist. He's not a disinterested party. Disinterested, by the way, doesn't mean uninterested. They're conflated. Disinterested means you're neutral. You're an observer the way a scientist looks at data, right? They can't be rooting for one outcome or another. And this sanctioning body president is not a disinterested party. He, as he's claiming, I'm not. He has business interests he clearly feels, in my opinion, are threatened by a shifting landscape in boxing. And I am a part of that shifting landscape. It ain't business as usual anymore, where these cancerous sanctioning body cells drain the life out of the sport year after year. Finally, I want to say this. In terms of the thought that based on the identity of my employers, you have to take what I say with a grain of salt. You should. You should consider all these things. You should also judge what I'm saying based on the content of what I'm saying and the truthfulness of it.
Max said that maybe in the early days these groups were needed to keep things organized, but now they're just middlemen taking money from fighters who actually put their lives on the line. He reminded everyone that fans don't buy tickets to see a WBC belt. They buy tickets to see Terence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez. If the fighters are the product and the fans are the customers, why are millions being funneled to organizations that don't step in the ring? Max said the old era where these groups could drain the sport is finished. And it was that one comment calling them harmful to boxing that pushed Mauricio Sulaiman over the edge.
I said exactly what I'm saying now about Ring Magazine championships and the sanctioning body championships for the past 25 years. I have been employed by Ring Magazine for several months now, but I've been saying the same exact thing I'm saying now for 25 years.
Just pick up Ring Magazine and it says so inside. They list the real champions in each division. And people say, well, what gives what gives Ring Magazine the legitimacy to rank champions? What about the sanctioning bodies? No, the sanctioning bodies have blown it a million ways.
You got receipts? I got receipts.
Let's get it.
Posted on.
When Sulaiman heard Max's comments, he didn't counter with numbers or transparency. Instead, he went after Max's character. In an interview with Fight Hype, Sulaiman laughed off the criticism, but the tension was obvious. He insisted Max's sudden push against the WBC wasn't real. His reasoning was straightforward. Max now works for the Ring Magazine, and the ring is owned by the Saudi General Entertainment Authority, led by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh.
Max Kellerman spoke with Mr. Khan earlier today in an interview, and they spoke about this.
No, please, I will not comment because that is a scripted commentary. Okay. The WBC does not have outlets. They own that outlet, so they can script. And it is so embarrassing how low Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger, they have gone so low because they do represent the publication. So it is scripted. It's biased completely. So I don't like to comment on that.
Okay. Well,
you are doing an interview. This is not biased. I am answering every single question.
Absolutely.
And I don't owe anything to you. You don't owe anything to me. You ask, I respond. But to talk about a program that is scripted, absolutely not.
Sulaiman's claim is that Turki Al-Sheikh wants to tear down the old sanctioning bodies and build his own super league, and that Max Kellerman is being used as his mouthpiece. By calling Max scripted, Sulaiman is trying to make people believe these aren't Max's real opinions, that he's just following orders to please a billionaire boss. It's a smart tactic because it avoids the real criticism and instead attacks the person delivering it. But Sulaiman chose the wrong opponent. Max is someone who cares more about clear, honest communication than almost anyone in sports media.
What about the Muhammad Ali Act? They spoke about just it having an option for the fighter to go a different direction, and they still nothing's going to change. They're just going to add an option where you can fight for another company. You don't have to just stay with the Muhammad Ali Act. That
is not true. That is not true. Fighters have options. They can sign with Golden Boy, with Top Rank, with the Iron Tiger, with Queensberry, with Matchroom, with John Doe. Those are the options. And Muhammad Ali Act helps them to have representation, a manager to sit down and negotiate and know the financials of every event. And the Muhammad Ali Act prevents the promoters from having a abuse of power, controlling a fighter, controlling the rankings, controlling a title. The WBC has to disclose many things to the authorities in the United States on every fight, on the rankings every month. It is a big cloud that should be analyzed and put openly, because they're very smart on trying to say they're very smart and everybody's not as they are. It is a very controversial thing that should not be taken lightly.
Max's response was a masterclass in calm precision. He didn't yell or get emotional. Instead, he gave the WBC president a simple language lesson. He focused on one idea people often confuse: the difference between being uninterested and being disinterested. Max explained that uninterested means you don't care and you're bored. Disinterested means you have no personal stake and you're truly neutral. A scientist watching an experiment is disinterested because they only care about the results, not which side wins. Max said he is the disinterested one here. He doesn't get paid by the WBC and he doesn't get paid by promoters. He is simply looking at the facts. Sulaiman, however, is the interested party because he has a financial reason to defend the current system. By breaking down the definitions, Max presented himself as the objective voice and framed Sulaiman as a businessman protecting a fading income source.
Terrence's criticism of the WBC is very well warranted, okay? The WBC, even though it was corrupt back when Jose Sulaiman would do corrupt things with Don King during his tenure, which was even depicted in The Great White Hype, which you were in, but another story for another day. Samuel L. Jackson being Don King, Jose Sulaiman being Cheech in that movie. That's who they were referencing. But despite all the corruption they've always had, when Mauricio inherited his father's company, he had a position to go the right path and make the WBC stand head and shoulders above the rest as clearly the most prestigious belt. It was the most prestigious belt when he inherited it. And instead, through short-term gain, short-sightedness, greed, and all that, he has put himself in a position now where he is losing deservedly in the court of public opinion against Crawford and, more importantly, TKO. And we'll get to that later on. And just to back up, just to not hold any water for the WBC, there's a picture I'll put up here. I remember in 2021, there was a time I had a WBC calendar, and on the calendar, it had Ryan Garcia with a WBC interim title, Devin Haney with the WBC title, and Teofimo Lopez with the WBC franchise title. And I used to make the joke, what the WBC will do is get 3% of Teofimo Lopez, 3% of Devin Haney, and 3% of Ryan Garcia. We will have 3 WBC champions in the same weight class at the same time!
The strongest part of Max's response wasn't the grammar lesson. It was the history. Sulaiman's entire claim depended on the idea that Max only started talking this way because he now works with Saudi-backed media. But Max brought the receipts. He told anyone watching to go back and check his shows from 1998 on HBO or 2010 on ESPN. And the internet did exactly that, pulling up clip after clip. The truth is clear. Max Kellerman has been criticizing the alphabet sanctioning bodies for 25 years. He has always argued that each division should have one true champion, the lineal champion, and that the belts are just confusing jewelry handed to whoever pays the most. That completely destroys Sulaiman's narrative. Unless the Saudis somehow went back in time to script Max in 2005, the accusation makes no sense. Max isn't speaking because someone pays him to. He's speaking because this has always been his stance. The only difference now is that he finally has a platform big enough to push real change. And that leads to the real issue here. This fight isn't about Max Kellerman or even Terence Crawford. It's about a massive power shift known as the Riyadh season takeover. For decades, the WBC, WBA, and IBF controlled everything because they controlled the rankings. If a fighter wanted a major matchup, he needed their belt. But Turki Al-Sheikh and the wave of new Saudi investment have changed the entire structure of boxing.
When I was coming up, all the writers would call them trinkets, right? But by Oscar always wearing the WBC, Floyd, Tyson, on and on, the WBC was the romantic title for me. That, hey, if I ever became a champion, that's the one I'd want to fight for. But I'm sitting at the press conference yesterday. I'm here in Texas covering Pitbull Roach, which is a WBC interim super lightweight title. And in a couple of weeks, Subriel Matias, who had Osterine in the system, is defending the full title so that Mauricio could get 3% of two belts in the same division. And if that isn't egregious enough, because we do know Teofimo Lopez is the super lightweight champion of the world, right? And yet they're trying to convince me this interim title fight is legitimately for the super lightweight champ. I don't know what world they're referencing. Not this one where Teofimo Lopez is the champion. If that wasn't egregious enough, on the undercard is Shane Mosley Jr., who I love Shane Jr., but he's never really been a top 10 in any given weight class. Coming off a career best win, beating Daniel Jacobs, shout out to him. But he's fighting Jesus Ramos, who's accomplished nothing at middleweight, and they got it for a WBC interim world title. And that's when I went, God damn it, they really are trinkets. He really has turned it into this. So Crawford's right, but it's coming at a time where he's holding water for TKO in what definitely looks like a coordinated attack to take out the head, and the rest will follow. Nick Khan went after them in a PR fluff dressed as an interview with Max Kellerman going after the WBC. Yesterday in Congress, the House of Representatives, one of the talking points TKO used was going after the WBC stripping Crawford. Mauricio played right into